Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sporting Perspective. It is week 6 of the NFL season. But before we jump into week 6, let's jump back into week 5. And we got our top 3 things that we want to discuss. James, I'll let you start out. What was your number one takeaway from week 5 of the NFL season?
Yeah, it's got to be that comical Arizona Cardinals fallout against the Titans. I'm also going to throw Emmy DeMarcado in there too. One of my things I talked about last week was uh, what's his name from the Adonai Mitchell dropping the ball before the end zone. His obviously I talked about was a little different because he was trying to transfer. Well, we saw it again. Emmy DeMarcado dropped the ball, or literally just let go of the ball. I don't even think it was punched out. I think it was he just dropped it before getting into the end zone. I'm not going to go into like that all over again. You know my thoughts if you listened to last week's episode. There's no words for it. I mean, I don't know how at that level you even think to do that. I mean, why do you? It just blows my mind. We'll go into the end zone. But anyways, yeah, the Cardinals are my number one thing to talk about. I mean, that franchise is absolutely just going in the wrong direction. Uh, Whether it's Jonathan Gannon and his like even keel demeanor, it's like, dude, you're the head coach. Take some. He's not taking responsibility, but he's not as fired up as I would think. Um, Drew Petzing hasn't been fired. I thought that was going to be something that would happen Monday or Tuesday. Hasn't happened. That offense was good for the first quarter, and then they decided to just not score anymore and just ground and pound with a practice squad guy. Marvin Harrison had one target in the second half. It was just it's very peculiar. Obviously, if you watched the game, you saw the weird interception recovered for a fumble in the end zone. And then the Cardinals had a chance to get a first down and pretty much iced the game, and they ran the ball on 3rd and 8. So it's just, I don't even know. I mean, there's a lot of people calling for Bidwell, the owner's head. There's people who want Petzing fired. There's people who want DeMarcado cut. There's people who are already calling for Gannon's head. And I don't know. And then the Kyler talk is still there, too. Like, Kyler's not the guy. And, I mean, yeah, it's year 7 for him. He's kind of looking more like a game manager than really a franchise quarterback. But, I mean, Christ, at least give the guy an opportunity to air it out. He was looking good pairing up with Marv in the first half, and then they just completely went away from the pass and tried to just, like I said, ground and pound with a practice squad running back, which didn't work. So, yeah, the Cardinals are an absolute dumpster fire.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, it's beginning to look more and more like it should be a garage sale at the end of the season. This might be a clean house. I don't know how they rebound from this, especially since now they got to go to Indianapolis. They're more than likely going to be 4-2, pretty buried in the division again. But like, just one of those things happening with the drop thing at the goal line, the fumble off the face mask, the weird interception fumble that turned into a touchdown. One of those things, you're losing your head. But 3 of them happening in a matter of 15 minutes is bizarre. And you
Yeah, I
just feel
forgot
like the
about the
team.
fumble off the face mask. That was
I
bad,
mean,
too.
it just feels like the team is cursed more than anything else because it's just like in Tennessee's. It's not like you lost to a good team. Tennessee's a bad football team.
Oh, yeah, they're
That
not good.
that on that on top of it all is like the only thing that came to my mind after watching the game was, oh my God, this is the Chicago Bears. We let them off the hook game all over again, just 19 years later.
Yeah, they are who they thought they were, or they are who
Yeah,
we thought they were.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
this
it's
one, a lot of people are saying this is the worst loss in franchise history because of the point spread the Cardinals were favored by. It was at home, and it literally was against the worst team
yeah,
in the NFL.
the
The
NFL.
Bears
Yeah,
game,
they were good.
they,
They went to the
they were
Super
at
Bowl
least
that year.
good. There's been
Yeah,
other years, I know, say the Cardinals lost to the best team in the NFL like 56-0.
yeah,
That's not good in an NFL game. The parity should be a little closer than that, but at least you got, you know, hypothetically, at least you lost to a good team. This, you were handedly winning this
Yeah.
game with an opportunity to go up 28-6 had DeMarcado not dropped the ball. And that
Yeah.
probably would have iced it. At that point, I guarantee,
That game's over. That game's over at
yeah,
that
I
point.
mean,
Yeah.
Callahan would have waved the white flag. At that point, it's
Yeah.
like, all right, fourth quarter, we're down 3+ scores. I mean, yeah, let's just run
Yeah.
it and start winding the clock.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, my first big thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about Tampa Bay in a sense. And that's the fact that they're letting Baker Mayfield be Baker Mayfield. They've been good at this the last couple years now. They're great at throwing the ball. They let him throw the ball. It's their best weapon. They do it all the time, winning, losing, whatever. They know what they're good at. And the reason I bring this up is we saw this week a lot where teams had leads or had the game in place to win, and they stopped giving their ball to their best player. Um, and it's mind blowing from a lot of different from fan base, fantasy base, betting base, everything across the board. There's a couple that jump out of the page. One, Philadelphia, you're up 17-3, and they just decided to throw the ball like crazy. Not a throwing team. Saquon Barkley touched the ball 6 times, or ran the ball 6 times that game, the whole game. I mean, I know you're not having a great start to the season running the ball, but Saquon Barkley is your glue, and you're up by 2 scores, and then you end up losing the game because you're chucking the ball. Another one, James Cook, touches the ball 3 times in the whole second half. Buffalo was in striking distance, but they decided to throw the ball like crazy all over the field, and New England came in with a really good defensive package, but it was just like, oh, whoa, what are we doing here? There's a couple others that come up here and there, but teams, offensive coordinators are getting a little cute by going away from what they're good at, especially when the defense can't stop it, and being like, oh, we're going to try and find plan B here. But plan B then doesn't work, and it's like, okay, we bailed on plan A. It's like, okay, so that's not good. I know you wanted to jump a little bit on the Tampa Bay situation and kind of stuff with me saying that you're chucking the ball around and one of the stars that they got.
Yeah, that receiving core is just deep. Mike Evans goes down. Godwin comes back. That was fortunate timing. But their star receiver has been Emeka Ibuka or Emeka Adigbu or whatever Rob Gronkowski called him. But yeah, Emeka's been amazing. He's already solidified himself as probably the wide receiver one there. And a guy that might come back, I don't know when per se, but Jalen McMillan is still a guy he's on IR right now. He proved himself last year as a solid wide receiver. So, come into the year in the playoffs, you might have Mike Evans, Godwin, Igbuka, and McMillan
Yep.
all rotating around, and that's talk about weapons for Baker to throw to.
Yeah, I mean, still has Sterling Shepard, who feels like he's been in the league forever, and he has the rookie Tez Johnson out of Oregon, who's now making plays as well. He's just got a slew of receivers, and then throw on top of the fact, I don't know, Bucky's hurt, but he should be back, and
Rashad White.
Rashad White. So I mean, you gotta, and then you can throw Sean Tucker in there as well, third string running back. It could actually also be a second down back somewhere else. So they're deep in their their athlete spots.
Yeah. So my number 2 point is I was very, very impressed with what I saw from Drake May. Um, Everyone in the Patriots organization is calling him Josh Allen 2.0, and he kind of looks it. He was making some big time throws. He can move and scoot a little bit too. Um, and that was a huge win. That to me showed that this Patriots team is super well coached and a little ahead of schedule. You look at Drake May's stats from the game. He didn't throw any touchdowns. He didn't run for any touchdowns, but he looked really good and he made the big plays when needed. Um, so that's really just it. This Pats team, I think, has turned it around really fast. They are looking like they obviously hit really well with their quarterback draft. And yeah, this Mike Vrabel led team is
Yep.
looking like a Mike Vrabel led team.
Yep. It's pretty much what I was going to say. Is Mike Vrabel's got this thing turned around pretty quick, and their team they could flirt with the playoffs. I would not be surprised. So, I
And
mean,
they're a team that I doubt a lot of other teams would want to face.
yeah, I mean, I know Stephon Diggs came in with a little extra juice in that game, but he's played 2 games this season, and both of them been over 100 yards. Old
And their
receiver,
defense
but
shouldn't be
still
slept on either. They have a
now.
good defense.
Um, so my second thing is actually do with scoring just across the NFL. 14 teams have scored over 40 points so far this season. At this point, last year there was only 7. So I just kind of noticed there's been just wild scores throughout the season. I know they've changed the kickoffs. Some teams are starting at like the 30-35. Is this increase in scoring good or bad, or have you seen a difference? Because I mean I have. I don't know if I'm loving it.
I don't mind it. I mean, the, the NFL is making a lot of these changes for scoring, so the fact that it's helping the scoring, I guess, is only helping the NFL's reasoning for why making these changes should happen. Um, Another thing too that I think helps is that if you get on like the other side of the 50-yard line, it seems like these kickers are just drilling 50 and 60 yarders like it's nothing. So
Yeah,
there's 3 points that you're getting, on offense by just getting to the 40, 50-yard line that
yeah,
in previous years you weren't, if you drilled a 50-yarder even just 5 years ago, that was a big deal. Now it's like, oh, 50 what yarder? Cool.
yeah,
Like I want to see a 60-yarder.
yeah, exactly.
My last point is I'm ready to dub the Jags as a competent team. Trevor Lawrence, to me, he still needs to up his play. I think if this team wants to do anything in the playoffs, but their defense looks really good. Travis Etienne is having a really good year, and honestly, it hasn't. It's really just been their run game that's impressed me because Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas haven't really got going yet. I know Trevor Lawrence made a beautiful throw. He literally dropped it right into the bucket of Brian Thomas. But overall, Brian Thomas has probably had a year to forget so far if you were to ask him from his standards and what he would have hoped. And honestly, a lot of his big playability and his breakout games last year came with Mac Jones at quarterback, which is interesting. He doesn't seem to have linked up with Trevor Lawrence quite yet. And if you notice the commercials, there's a commercial with Trevor Lawrence and Travis Hunter. So I don't know how true that is, if they really are like BFFs or not. But Travis Hunter is a special talent. He still has a long way to go, I think, on offense and defense, just because he is a pure athlete and he's a rookie. He just still has a lot to learn, but he has that big playability. But overall, I do think this Jaguars team just winning at home against the Chiefs, that's a big win, and that's a win that they need to go off of that and just start piling wins now, and using that as like game script to use to win football games.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Jacksonville as well. I wish I would have bet that at the beginning of the year for them to win that division because I called that. So I blew that. But the defense for Jacksonville has been really good. I thought with a lot of these athletes on the offensive side of the ball that they would get it clicking, but I didn't think the defense would be this good. Forcing turnovers, turning turnovers into points really easily. Um, yeah, I've been very very impressed with Jacksonville overall, and I'm hoping this is the season that Trevor Lawrence can really take the next step. So
He has throws where some of those like 5-10 yard outs, he just zings it in there, and
yep,
like he has throws where you're like, oh wow, okay. To me, he's like a step above Kyler Murray. He's not quite elite. I'm not going to say he's not a franchise quarterback because he still has a lot of this season to maybe prove that he can be, and obviously Jacksonville thinks he is, hence why they gave him the extension. But he really needs to start throwing himself into the Mahomes, Allen, I guess Lamar Jackson conversation for the skill set he has and like the athlete he is,
Yep.
especially if you saw that game-winning touchdown. I mean, that was not a lot of players could fall to the ground, get stepped on, get up, and then just run in and score the game-winning touchdown. So,
Yeah.
very athletic play.
And I must say, a great back-to-back-to-back wins here between Houston, San Francisco, and Kansas City. It's not an easy back-to-back-to-back, regardless of where you're playing those games. My last one, I just kind of wanted to make a quick note. Joe Flacco was traded on Tuesday to Cincinnati. So Joe Flacco will probably be the starting quarterback in Cincinnati till not Carson Palmer. My goodness, holy
Joe
hell,
Burrow.
how far back? Joe Burrow. Carson Palmer's head came into my head. Man, I went backwards 20 years there. Um, so my question is, now that Flacco's moved on, Cleveland is obviously going to run with their two rookie quarterbacks now to see who's going to be the guy. There's one guy that's sitting on a bench that's got a pretty big quarterback room right now, and that's Russell Wilson. And there's one team that I see may be interested, and it would be interesting. The Raiders. Could we see a Russell Wilson relationship mend over there with Pete Carroll? Because Geno Smith, 6 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and some of those interceptions have been horrible. He was brought in to be a game manager. That continuity with Pete Carroll, and it really has been awful. Could we see Russell Wilson go to the Raiders? Is that a possibility? Do we see Russell Wilson moving at all? I think it would be a bad idea if the Giants just held him, especially with Jameis Winston just sitting there. Might as well go get something for him now that you're going to have Jackson Dart, for better or for worse, through 2025, be the guy.
Yeah, not a bad take to throw out there. I'll throw out Jameis Winston too. I mean, you want to keep Russ behind Jackson Dart and let the uber veteran teach him some stuff. That's fine. But if I were a quarterback needy team, Baltimore even, we don't know how long Lamar is going to be out. If I'm Baltimore or not Oakland, Las Vegas, I'm calling up and asking about Russ and Jameis. Which one do you want to give me?
Yeah, yeah. Because it didn't cost Cincinnati a lot to get Flacco. So, I mean, they really gave up. I think if I remember right, it was Flacco and a sixth for a fifth. So it's not like you're probably going to get pretty similar compensation there. So,
Yeah.
but all right. Well, that said, let's jump into this week's games, and we're going to start with tonight's game. Philadelphia taking on those Giants that we were just talking about. Jackson Dart 1-1 in his NFL career so far. Philly coming off that disappointing loss against Denver.
Yeah, this seems like a no-brainer to me. I'm taking the Eagles. I think whatever Philly's been trying to do these first couple weeks has been a little strange. And that last game we just saw, you nailed it. Like, very odd play calling. Saquon didn't get the ball. I bet we see a heavy dose of Saquon this game. And the Giants just, Jackson Dart, I think Jackson Dart's really good. He's just not quite there yet. A little too turnover prone. So I like the Eagles on the road.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles too. I don't have much to add there. Pretty much exactly what you're going to say is what I was going to say. A lot of running. I don't expect this to be a very entertaining game. Philly wins. Let's move to Sunday. This game taking place in London. Denver taking on the winless Jets.
Yeah, I'm taking the Broncos. They're better coached, better offense, and a really, really elite defense. So I'm taking the Broncos.
I'm taking the Broncos as well, but this, in my opinion, could be a trap game. I could see the Jets coming out, playing well. Denver kind of coming off of the Philly win, feeling really good about themselves. Those games in England sometimes get weird. So I would say if you want to throw some money at a game and take the underdog and hope it hits, this might be the one. I'm not going to do it though. I'm taking Denver, but I could see the Jets potentially squeaking something weird out here. Um, we'll go to the 10 o'clock slate. Arizona taking on the Colts.
Colts at home. Arizona's an absolute mess. I'm taking the Colts.
Yeah, nothing to add there. I'll take the Colts. Danny Dimes very well could be in MVP conversations at this point. Weird to say. Never would have thought that was happening. Chargers, very banged up. Chargers heading to Miami.
I'm still taking the Chargers. I think Miami's just in a worse situation. They're also banged up. No Tyreek Hill, and they just had a bad loss to Carolina. I mean, Carolina, I think, has improved from the Carolina of old, but Miami and their fans are not happy, and I think are ready to move on from Tua and ready to move on from Mike Daniels. So I think the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert's the better quarterback in this game. I think there's more wide receiving weapons in Ladd and Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen. I just think there's a little bit more weapons on the Chargers side of the ball.
I agree with you. I'm taking the Chargers as well. It's tough to bet on Miami. It's more of a question now, when does Mike McDaniels get fired? But I'm going to take the Chargers in this one. New England heading to New Orleans.
I saw a lot of really positive things from the Patriots, so I'm taking the Patriots. I know the Saints are coming off a win, but that team is still really bad. Spencer Rattler
Yep.
is not great, and we're kind of waiting until Kamara probably gets moved to a better team at this point, and the Keandre Miller era at running back starts. So, um, yeah, I'm taking the Patriots. Just I think they're
Yep.
a better team.
You can see the Patriots as well. You kind of nailed all the talking points about them earlier. Patriots, New Orleans, still pretty much in disarray. And probably the most glaring scheduling loss so far this season, Cleveland has to go to Pittsburgh. Cleveland played in London last week. Pittsburgh gets to come off a bye, and Cleveland is starting a rookie quarterback. That's a disaster.
Yeah, Steelers at home. They've had 10 days or more to prepare. Or 10 days. I don't know.
14 days.
Have they had 14? All right. Well, they
Yeah.
had the bye. So they've had plenty of time to prepare. They're at home. They're the better team. And until I see Dylan Gabriel throw over 10 yards, I can't pick the Browns.
That's probably my lock of the week. If that doesn't happen, I don't know what's going on. I'm taking Pittsburgh. Yeah. Dallas heading to Carolina. Carolina has been good at home, 2-0 there. They look much different there than on the road.
I really wanted to take Carolina because, like you said, they do play a lot better at home. The Cowboys' defense proved to me that they actually are 11 man on defense. They're not just getting sniped by other offenses. So there is a pulse on defense, and I think the Cowboys' offense is actually solid. Dak's having a good year. George Pickens is loving being the number one receiver right now. Um, we're probably still a week or two away from CD Lamb, but Ferguson's been playing great, and Javonte Williams has kind of resurrected his career in Dallas. He looks like a solid running back. So I just think the Panthers are just a little too inexperienced, and I'm taking the Cowboys. Not by much, but I think the Cowboys win it.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys too. Dak Prescott's really having his Joe Burrow season of last year. He's just chucking the ball, scoring a lot of points, and he knows he doesn't have a defense. But I'll take Dallas here. Carolina's still just a little bit young. Could be a very fun, explosive, a lot of scoring. Could be a lot of scoring in that one. Um, Seattle heading to Jacksonville. I think this may be one of the best games of the week.
Yeah, I'm picking the Jacksonville just basically with what I saw on this past Monday night. It is a quick turnaround for Jacksonville. I think their defense is real. I think Seattle's defense is also real, and Darnold has actually looked really good. I think this actually could be a really fun and good game. Um, but personally, I don't think Jacksonville's offense was all that great on Monday. That was like a C plus B minus performance. So if they can actually get Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter going, I think this offense still has a lot more to show. But I'm taking the Jaguars at home.
Yep, I got Jacksonville as well. Um, Rams heading to Baltimore. It's looking like Lamar probably misses his second in a row here.
Yeah, I can't pick Cooper Rush to win a game, and Derrick Henry looks mortal at this point. I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams too. Baltimore desperately needs their bye to come in week 7 to get just somewhat healthy. Going to the afternoon slate, Tennessee heading into Vegas.
I'm taking the Raiders mainly just because they're finally starting to use Ashton Genty with how they should be using Ashton Genty. And he's back to the Michael Myers stance, not the traditional NFL running
Yeah,
back stance. So Raiders at home, Allegiant Stadium is always rocking, regardless if it's Raiders fans or just people there betting on the game. Um, Titans aren't good. I
so
know they got the win in Arizona, but Arizona is also very bad. So, yeah, I'm taking the Raiders.
yeah, Tennessee really bad. As long as Geno Smith doesn't turn the ball over a ton, Vegas should have this one. Um, Not much more to add there. This is Cincinnati heading to Green Bay, 14-point spread right now. Um, who knows if Flacco is going to be able to turn this around? Granted, Flacco did beat Green Bay just a few weeks ago.
And he arguably has, not arguably, he has better options in Cleveland. I just don't think he's going to be quite ready yet. And the Packers are still the real deal. So I'm taking the Packers at Lambeau.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers as well. San Francisco heading to Tampa Bay.
Bucks and Baker, they're not losing this game. 49ers are still super banged up. Uh, we might see another Kendrick Bourne showing. He might be their number one receiver again in San Fran. But the Bucks are banged up and they still have a ton of
Yep.
weapons. So yeah, I'm taking Baker in the Bucks.
Like every game I'm going to see this season at this point with Baker starting, I expect there to be a lot of scoring in this one. Wouldn't be surprised if both teams rattle off like 5 touchdowns. Um, but I'm going to take Tampa Bay. Helps that they're at home. And really, maybe the only interesting game of that afternoon slate. All those other games could be pretty bad, to say the least. Um, Sunday night football. This should be a great one. Detroit taking on Kansas City at Kansas City.
I think the Lions might be the best team in the NFL right now, so I'm taking the Lions. The Chiefs are they're just not doing it for me. Maybe they rebound a little when they get Rashi Rice back and you know Xavier Worthy heals up a bit because he seems to be playing all right, but then he misses a few plays because he's hurt. I know he's hurt early in the season with a shoulder injury caused by Travis Kelsey. Um, I'm not saying he needs to take a week off or anything, but like he seems to be re-aggravating that some injury, not his shoulder, but he like hurt his ankle or leg in the Monday night game, and yeah, I don't know. I think the Chiefs dynasty is just kind of slowly starting to fade, and the Lions still look really, really good. So I like the Lions.
I'm taking the Lions as well, but I have to say, Kansas City's first 6 games this season got to be the most brutal way to start a season. I mean, they got no breaks, and if they come out of it 2-4, it's not a great place to start. But I mean, their schedule gets easier after this. But I mean, talk about just a brutal way to start, where you have to play Philly, L.A., Baltimore, Detroit, Jacksonville. I mean, it's just every single week has been playoff team, playoff team, playoff team. It's been a brutal start. Um, yeah, not a lot of breaks there. So I'm going to take Detroit. So we got a doubleheader on Monday night. Buffalo heading to Atlanta.
I think the Bills rebound. I think Josh Allen, James Cook, and company are just the better team, and it's kind of a weird game for them at home in all whites, up against a good Patriots team. I don't want to knock the Patriots, and that was a great win for them. But I think the Bills are still one of the best teams in football, and Atlanta have just been way too up and down for me. It's one week they get shut out, the next week they win and put up like 30 plus points. So I don't know what to make of Atlanta quite yet. So I'm taking the Bills.
I'm going to take the Bills too. It's just been too inconsistent for me with Atlanta. Exactly what you said. Chicago at the Commanders in the late version of Monday Night Football.
If this were in Chicago, I think I'd take the Bears, especially with them coming off a bye and having the time to prepare for this game. But Uh, I think Jaden Daniels is starting to get a little more healthy, which is scary. In my Arizona, my one game Arizona guy, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, had a breakout game. Um, I'm taking the Commanders at home. I think Jaden Daniels out duels Caleb Williams. This actually could be a really fun game. So lot lot of good skill position players in this. You got Roma Dunze on the Bears. You got Debo Samuel, who's been playing out of his mind with the Commanders. So, but like I said, I'm taking Jaden Daniels just out duel Caleb.
We both remember how this game ended last year with the crazy Hail Mary, with the Commanders winning that one. I don't think it's going to be that crazy this time around, but Jaden Daniels looked great last week against the Chargers. Bill looked great. Scary Terry is on track to look like he may be playing in this one, so another weapon for him. Um, I think the Commanders win this one, them being at home, and they impressed against the Chargers last week. And the Bears have been a little bit more up and down, I would say, is the nice way of putting it. You don't know who you're really going to get. So I'm going to take the Commanders in this one. So before we sign off, we got another top three, and this is a tough one in my opinion. So this week we're doing our top three teams that are at 500 or below that we think have the best chance at making the playoffs still. So we'll go back and forth. I'll let you go first with your three, and then I'll do number three. I'll do my number three, two, two, one, one. So
Cool.
you go first.
My number three team is Cincinnati. I think that division right now is super banged up. The Steelers right now are in the division lead, but they're not like a dominant team to me. Cincinnati, I'm basically putting on here just because I think the addition of Joe Flacco and still having T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Chase Brown. If Joe Flacco can look just better than Browning, then maybe he can resurrect this team and get him into the wild card or even win the division. And, if I don't know what the severity of Lamar Jackson's going to be, and like I said, the Steelers, it's not like they're a dominant team, so they probably have some losses coming up too. So yeah, number three, I got Cincinnati.
So my number three is actually I got the Ravens, and that's purely the fact that their bye week. So they play the Rams this week, then they get a bye in week 7, and then they should get a lot of guys back going into week 8. Their schedule between week 8 and week 13, 14 is very easy. So they could have the ability, if they're healthy, to rattle off some wins. The division is weak, like you said. Cleveland, not a juggernaut. Cincinnati, we'll see what they're like with Flacco, but they've got a few easy-ish games in there that they could win. And we know the Ravens, when healthy, they score points. Um, but the defense is so banged up. But that's my number three, and it's purely the fact of Lamar Jackson, if healthy, is the scariest quarterback in the NFL.
I'm not going to repeat anything you said. I have Baltimore at number two, basically for everything you said. And again, I'll ditto if Lamar Jackson comes back and that offense can get back to, you know, what they were showing us in week 1, week 2, week 3, basically with Lamar Jackson. They could easily rattle off some wins and win that division. So I have Baltimore at 2.
So at number two, I have the 2-2-1 Dallas Cowboys, which is wild to say, but they are second in points in the NFC right now. We know the defense is awful, but it looks like they can outscore, or at least score with anyone. They're going to get CD Lamb back, so that's going to be another option on the offensive side. You're just in shootouts. So could they shoot their way out into a 7 seed? Yeah, it could happen. But they're not going to be a team that's, as we've seen them play Philly, as we've seen them play Green Bay. They played some good teams so far this season. They're playing with everybody. So they're not going to be an easy out, and they've squeaked out they squeaked out a tie against Green Bay. So, and they really
Right.
squeaked out a win against Philly.
Number 1, I'm taking the Chiefs. I think the ball's finally not bouncing their way like it seemed to have always been the last couple of years. And not saying the ball's going to start bouncing their way a little more, but when you got Patrick Mahomes on your side, it's still hard to like bet against them. There's still that Kansas City and the Chiefs and what they are is still mildly there. I'm not going to say they're a juggernaut like they used to be, but um, they're still the Kansas City Chiefs. They still got they're the reigning Super Bowl champs. Or no, they're not. That's the Eagles. They're coming off a Super Bowl. The year prior they had won, but
Yeah,
they're still coming off of playoffs, coming off going to a Super Bowl. I still think they have just a tiny bit left in the tank.
yeah. The schedule's going to get easier. The Chiefs are my number one as well. I do think they start 2-4, but they've had probably the hardest 6 week stretch you can ask for to start a season. So it's going to get easier. There's going to be some winnable games in there. So yeah, Chiefs are my number one. I think they bounce back. Rashid Rice will also help. They got a lot of wide receiver talent, so I think they'll bounce back just fine. So all right, well, anything you want to jump into before we log out for week 6 here?
Well, I've reached that point as an Arizona fan where I think I'm either gonna not watch the Cardinals anymore this season or hate watch them. I haven't quite decided.
And when your 1 year anniversary is coming up, wedding.
Oh, that's right. This
Yeah,
weekend.
I,
No,
I
I knew
just looked
that.
at the date and I was like, oh yeah, I was in South Dakota this time last year. Yeah, so
Yep. Yep. one
yeah,
year anniversary on Sunday. I guess we'll probably be watching some football. Do the
it's a
Vikings
good way.
play? No, the
Vikings
Vikings
are
are
on
on bye.
bye. Yeah,
Okay. Well,
Vikings and
Ashley's team's
Houston
on
on
a bye,
buys.
so
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more relaxing. At least it's not Kansas football. They look bad. So
yeah. And they have Texas Tech on Saturday.
oh, they're getting
At
killed.
Texas Tech.
There's a reason why we didn't talk about that yesterday. Um, all right, at least Kansas basketball is starting soon. Um, hey, did you see talking a little bit of other sports? Just because we talk all sports. I saw U of A had their Midnight Madness, and Gronk made an appearance,
They did. Shaq.
and yeah, and little James looks like he's hitting shots. So
Yeah. When we have our college football show, I'll definitely talk a little bit about
college
that.
basketball,
What did I say?
you say college football,
Oh yeah,
college
college
basketball.
basketball. Yeah, yeah. Bryce James. I don't think if he's playing this year, I don't think it'll be good. I think from everything I've kind of read, and it's not confirmed yet, but I think he might get redshirted.
Yeah, so still fun to see. But all right, well, I don't think I have too much else to say. And until next week, have a wonderful time watching NFL, NCAA, college, not college, MLB playoffs, a little bit of everything going on these
WNBA
days.
finals.
WNBA finals, it's all going. Um, yeah, I don't have anything to add. So until next time, see y'all later.